Pay, oh, patience, 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 patience. Some of you guys are some impatient motherfucker. Bro, I've been here for like 30 minutes. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Bro, that shit with Sebas is hilarious. Yeah, today we gifted Sebas his car, and oh, this guy really needs to learn how to drift, man. I'm honestly a bit disappointed as a leader and him not learning. So yeah, he definitely has to get better. You didn't gift him an SVJ, you're soft. What happened with the couch? I didn't like it. So I'm gonna get like a black leather one. Like it's gonna fit more of the vibe of the room. Yeah, so that's literally the first second we drove it, almost fucking totaled the whole car. Oh man. Black leather one sus. Ah, dude, you can't win with you guys, bro. Can't win with you guys. All right, six. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day number four. Yeah, day number four. Monday was four. Okay, yes, correct. All right, so today is Thursday. Okay. Whoa, shit. Let me do this. All right, one second, guys. Let me just kind of get everything worked over here. All right, sick. All right, cool. If you watch the recording, type one. If you did not, type two. That is what I love to see. I'm going to even do a poll. Please go ahead and vote in the poll. Cruz, what's your email? Cruz, what's your email? Type it here in the chat. I made a shit ton of notes from yesterday. The recording actually helped a lot. Perfect. Sick. Can you mention to me support? Okay, Luis Leta, please drop your email. All right, hold on. Let me just write this down. Harold, got you. Give me one second, guys. A lot of you guys that say that you guys don't have access is fucking bullshit, respectfully. You guys just have to go and check your spam, honestly. All right, cool. Got you guys' email. Sick. All right, so this is the stats of the poll. Oh shit, did I just end? Whoa, where did the poll go? You guys don't see the poll, right? No? Yeah, neither do I. I guess we lost it. But whatever. The point is that 80% of you guys saw the recording. If you guys have not rewatched the recording, you guys are missing out. Your fellow classmates are rewatching the recording and are gaining value from that. All right, sick. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's over here. No wonder I didn't see it. These are the results. So 70% of you guys have watched the recordings. 30% of you guys have not watched the recordings. So for the 70 that have, congratulations. You guys, I'm sure, all your questions got answered. And those of you guys that didn't, it's probably because you already know. All right, sick. We're now going to move on to today's topic. So if you guys could see my screen, type one. If you cannot, type two. Amazing. All right, cool. So let me go into over here. All right, so today we are going to talk about these topics. Well, it's not how it works. Sorry, wrong one. Human error. I am human at the end of the day. Human mistake. Sorry. What is an indicator slash an EMA? What is a trending market? What is a choppy market? What is a high volume session? What is market correlation? And what is market structure, along with what is top down analysis? So, again, a lot of these questions are going to be on the how all of this is going to work, but this week is going to be the what. So again, please keep in mind with your questions, if it has a how in front of it, that's going to be for next week. Yes, all of the recordings are going to be for you guys forever, and you guys will have access to it once we're like you guys have access to it once we're done with the class and forever, and you guys will get access to the Discord and everything else once we are done with the 30-day boot camp. This is strategically done so you guys don't have any type of distraction while we are on the 30-day boot camp. A lot of you guys are easily distracted and cannot do more than one thing at a time successfully. And I am guilty of this myself. That's why I'm implementing it with you guys. I got to focus on one task, complete it very well, then I move on to the next. You have 5 things at the same time. You put 25% effort into each, you get nothing done. Compared to putting 100% into one is done, you move on to the other. Sick. All right, cool. So let's start off with what is an indicator and what is the EMA? So an indicator, an EMA, let's call it we'll just leave it as indicator and EMA to not complicate it, right? So an indicator is going to be some type of squiggly line on the chart that is going to give you an indication to buy or sell. There's many different types of indicators. As you can see up here, you would click on this indicator section on TradingView. And when you click on this indicator section, you will see that you have a 24 volume indicator that will show you the volumes. You can see that you can have whatever this accumulation bullshit is, this advanced decline line, advanced decline ratio, so much shit that you have to pay to get all these different types of indicators. And I guarantee you, none of them will ever give you as much value as the market structure, the candlesticks, price action, which is what we will always and only look at. Indicators are different signals that people use to have an edge over the market to determine if they want to take their trade or not. That is what an indicator is. It's a different way to read the market to determine if it's a great time to take your trade or not. For example, all of these indicators are indicating to you price at where it is at this very moment. And based off of this 24 volume indicator, it's in the middle, whatever that means. Maybe now it's a good time to buy or it's a good time to sell. I don't know how to use this. This whatever accumulation below whatever, it's in the middle. Maybe it's a good time to buy, maybe it's a good time to sell. I don't know. I don't use this. And then you have this indicator, which can indicate that it's an overbought market. Now it means that it could be a good time to sell. I don't know. I don't use it. And I don't use 99.999999% of every single one of these different indicators. There's indicators, there's strategic indicators, there's profiles, there's patterns, there's financials, there's a community, there's all this different shit that I don't use, have never used, and I have only used one, which is the 50 EMA. So the EMA that I use is the 50. So we double click it. You can see that my EMA is 50, source close, offset 0. The method is SMA, and the length is 50. So how we use it and how can you add it and how can you look at it good and how can you this, I want to do that more for next week. Right now, I just want you to understand what an indicator is. An indicator at the end of the day is to just let you know if the market is it's just a different way on how to read the market. You can click this different indicator. Something I can't even add so many indicators. So I don't know, dude. What the fuck is this? I don't want to upgrade. Oh, indicators, whatever. So we have this indicator, we have the arrow indicator. I don't know. There's so many different types of indicators that at the end of the day, what it does is just accumulate price action with shit that you will not need at all. You only need the EMA and if that. I don't ever need to use the EMA. The EMA is an added confluence to enter a trade. The EMA is not the end all be all about the strategy. If I were to have to grade this from a level of 1 to 10 on how important it is in my strategy and at the point of execution, I would grade it at a 3. 1 out of 10, it would be at a 3. It's not a big deal. If I have it or don't have it, it does not change my trade at all. It just makes it a little bit better. Perfect analogy for it is if you have, let me think. I don't know. It's like when you go buy a car. Let's say you're gonna go buy a car and well, not this guy. Say you're gonna go buy a car and when you go buy it, they give you tire shine. It's not gonna make or break the deal. It just makes it a little bit better. Or that after they sell it to you, they wash it and they give you some seat cleaner package. It's just an extra thing. What you really care about is the car, that it works and you got it a good deal. You're not gonna not buy the car if it doesn't have the tire shine or the seat cleaners. It just makes you feel better about your purchase. It's the same thing about the indicator. All it does, it just adds to your trade, which makes you feel more confident that now it's going to go in that direction or not. Now, I will not ever take a trade because of an indicator, and I will never ever take a trade because of an indicator. So make sure you guys write that down. An indicator is just another confluence added on top of your trading plan, and it does not determine whether you enter or not enter a trade. It is an added confluence. The value of it is very low. And the only indicator that I use is going to be the 50 EMA. How you set it up, how you do everything with the EMA, we are going to explain that later on how it works. And it works very simple, but I don't want to talk about it now because that is for next week. I can go on different analogies on how it works, but that is for next week. So if you understand what the indicator is, type 1. If you don't, type 2. Beautiful. All ones in the chat. Here we go. What about the no gap candlesticks? That's not an indicator. We'll talk about that later, how to set up your trading view. I need your no gap candlestick indicator. We'll do that later. So this is not an indicator. This is just something that when we go next week on how to use this platform, I will break down so you guys can do it. So basically a plugin to have more information on the trade on the chart. Yes. EMA equals estimated moving average. No, it's exponential moving average. Do we have to pay for the main indicator? No, you can have the free plan on TradingView and you can have, I think, one indicator for free. The word indicator identifies what it is. Literally, indicator indicates something. It's pretty self-explanatory. What is the line in the back of your charts? Alan? Alan? Alan. This is an indicator, just in case you didn't know. Get him. How important is it? Can we never use it? Yep, it's what I just said. You don't ever have to use it. It'll never determine if you are going to solely enter a trade or not enter a trade because of an indicator. If it adds a little value, you don't determine your trades with it. Why do you keep it on your charts? Like I said, because it just sweetens up the deal. It makes it a little bit better. And what we try and do every single day when we trade is find as many things all together that make the trade just a little bit better. And when you add them all up together, it's just one good thing. Why the 50 EMA? Simply because statistically, over the course of the last 6 years of my trading journey, it's what I have found that works the best. It's what I learned with and what I have been using for the last 6 years and has made me a shit ton of gains in the markets. So what does the 50 mean? So the 50 is just the way it measures the market movement, I guess. I don't know. You could change this to 100, and then when you change it, yeah, I think it goes somewhere else, or it doesn't, or maybe it has to be changed up here as well. 100 and 100. I guess it does nothing. I always, oh yeah, there you go. So you see how it moved down. So I guess it's based off of the market volume. But what has worked always for me is the 50. I don't even know what that counts like or how it's measured. I have no fucking idea, but it's 50. What is EMA? EMA means exponential moving average. EMA equals indicator equals exponential moving average. I misspelled that. Exponential moving average. That's what the EMA stands for. What does it indicate to you in terms of your strategy? It's an added confluence that I will determine when I go execute a trade. What does SMA mean? I don't know. I don't know what any other indicator means. I don't know anything else here. 99.9999999% of the shit in here, I have no idea what it is. I only know the EMA, and I only know that it is the 50 EMA, and I only know how to use it. I don't know anything else behind it. I don't know who created it. I don't know why it was created. I don't know anything. Shout out to the repeated questions. So if that makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. It's like 99.9999% ones. Cool. Easy. That's literally how simple it's the what things are supposed to be. Cool. Now that we understand what an indicator is, what is a trending market? Let me see something. Trending charts of clothing. Okay. So when you see trending stuff, that means that you see a pattern, right? When something is trending, for example, I don't know, I should take off the. When you see something trending is when you see it always and always and always again. Like now, the new trending shit is like whatever, basic girl fit, little whatever, hoodie, jeans, shoes. I was gonna click on the same picture. Here you go. Here goes another guy. Shirt, jeans, shoes. It's trending. It's basic. It's the most fucking trending thing you could ever go out there. The point is that you're gonna see it all the time. It happens again and again and again and again and again and again. It's trending. Well, can that possibly mean when there's a trending market? Well, it's when something happens again and again and again, but not necessarily literally again and again and again. It's happening in one direction. So when the trend of the clothing, let's see, trending of clothing chart, when you see it, it's basically everything is happening the same way, one way. So when people are using the same clothing, they're all going in one direction, going to one store, getting the one piece of clothing and wearing it every single day. So like there's just one direction where you're going when clothing is trending. With the markets, it's a little bit different. Like the market is not just going one way sideways. It's impossible. It's going one way upwards or it's going one way downwards. And when it's trending to the upsides, there's opportunity to buy. And when it's trending to the downside, there's opportunity to sell. But the market is not going to just move literally like this or literally like this. When it's trending, it's moving in structure, bullish structure and bearish structure. Now I'm going to get into what is structure, what is bullish, and what is bearish. Everything that you can possibly imagine. But the first thing is I want to explain to you what is a trending market. Trending market is when it's going in one direction, to the upside or to the downside. And it is identified going to the upside or to the downside in a trending market. The trending market is created by market structure. Basically it. That is what a trending market is. A market that is moving to the side like this is not a trending market. This is considered a choppy market or a consolidation market. That's pretty much it. That is what a trending market is and what a choppy market is. Now, how do you identify it? How do you spot it? How can you tell one from the other? How can you really, really understand it and practice it and get it? That's next week. If you understand what it is, type 1. If not, type 2. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, ready for some questions. Is this recording from yesterday? No, this is live from today, brother. This is not yesterday's recording. Is the recording available from yesterday? Yes. All right. Any questions on what a trending or choppy market is? So you consider choppy and consolidation in the same category? Yes. It's like saying it's hot outside and it's warm outside. It's the same fucking shit. It's cold outside. It's freezing outside. It's the same shit. It's choppy. It's consolidating. It's the same shit. Okay, let me just make sure to do this. Choppy slash. It's like, what would you rather have, the summer or the heat? Would you rather have winter or cold? Which one do you like better? It's the same shit. There's a sideways. Shit, that's what I didn't want to do. Whatever. Which market is better to trade? You only want to trade trending markets. You don't want to trade a choppy market. So trending markets are a lot easier to capitalize off of trades and make a lot of money. That's what the market is better. What does 50 mean on the EMA? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Really super irrelevant. I did have no idea. Erwin, I feel you. Do you identify a trend on choppy? We're going to talk about that next week. Does your strategy work on choppy markets? It does not. I only trade trending markets. I don't try and trade markets that are not tradable. So picture yourself as an entrepreneur and you want to have a successful business on a choppy or consolidation market in the clothing brand, for example. You can't be successful because there's clearly not a trend. You can only capitalize off of something when there's a trend. You can remix things, you can get creative. For example, all these essentials hoodies, right? I don't know, just whatever. Like these look like the essential hoodies, for example, that they say essential all over this. This became a very trending thing. So what did people start to do? They started making their own type of brands with their own branding, but with the essential foundation. Why? Because it was trending. When there's no trend, you can't be successful on a brand when there's no trend because you can't follow anything. So it's the same thing in the markets. You can't become successful if the markets are choppy. You can only become successful when it's trending. If that makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. Sick. How do you define what is it? How do you define if it's a choppy market or a trending market? That sounds like a how question, and that's going to be next week. Because I never answer your question. William, what is your question, brother? Please. Is this live now? William, that's why I don't fucking answer your questions. William, come on, dude. AJ, you better not be fucking laughing, brother. All right? AJ, you haven't been on the best. What is your indicator if it's choppy or trending? There's not an indicator to identify if it's choppy or trending. It's just going to be you're identifying the market. What do we write down for the definition of what a trending or choppy market is when there is bullish structure to the upside and when there is bearish structure to the downside. And a choppy and sideways consolidation market is going to be when there is no trending market. So they go hand in hand. Trust me, you guys are going to very easily be able to identify a trending market. I'm telling you, next week, you guys are going to have the biggest aha moment ever. All right, one last time. If you understand, type 1. If you don't, type 2. Perfect. Everybody understands what a trending market is and what a consolidation market is. All right. Do I see your message? Yes, I see everybody's message. Do we identify this on the weekly, daily, or whatever? It's more on the how, but to shorten your questions, we identify this in every time frame. All right, cool. Can you show me examples on your trading view? That's the how. We're going to do that next week. All right, cool. Leads me to understand that you guys understand what it is. It's very easy, guys. Cool. Now, what is a high volume session? Well, what is a high volume session? What the fuck can that possibly mean? High volume session. That should probably mean that there is a high volume session. So a high volume session is when there's a high volume session. And it's very easy to understand this, but it could be a little tricky if you don't know how to calculate the time zones. So I'm going to put here FX time zones. So this is the one that I like to use right here because it is the easiest to understand. So when there is less volume in the session, when there is a high volume session, you only want to trade on the high volume session. The best example, the fucking easiest and simple example, because this is a question for some reason some people just try and go around this. And I just reverse psychology the question back to them. We're going to come to this analogy in just a second. But first, I have to explain to you what a high volume session is. So, a high volume session is when there is a lot of movement in the market. The movement in the markets happen when the big banks are trading, when there's volatility in the market, when there's money being moved. When there's money being moved, there's an opportunity for you to be able to go and enter on a trade at that session. When there's no money being moved, there is no opportunity for you to capitalize off of a trade. If there's no volume, if there's no volatility, there's no opportunity. That's where you get a choppy, a consolidation, a sideways market because there is no volume, there is no volatility. When you have a high volume, a high volatility market, you have a trending market. You have a market continuation patterns. You have great opportunities that you can capitalize on. That's where you want to be trading. You don't want to trade outside of a high volume session. One, you're not going to have great market opportunities. Two, there's not going to be any trending markets. And three, it's a lot more expensive for you to want to go and trade in those sessions. When there's a high volume session, it's a lot less inexpensive to trade. You have a lot more opportunities and you have great trending markets. Literally, everything here is a con, everything here is a pro. There's no reason you should want to go and trade on a non-high volume session. High volume sessions typically end up happening in London session and New York session. Now, don't quote me, don't fucking point a gun at me. There can still be a possibility of an opportunity on a low volume session, but it's a lot less probable. Talking about like 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10. And when I go to the analogy, it's going to make a lot of sense in just a second. But a high volume sessions, typically 99, not typically, they are in London session and New York session. London session starts off at 3 a.m. EST and ends off at 12 p.m. EST. So you have to go and do the conversion on your time zone, wherever you are in the world, on when London session is for you. And then New York session opens up at 8 a.m. EST and ends off around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, 8 to 4, the classic 9 to 5 mentality, whatever. That's because everybody's at work, banks are open, people are doing loans, people are buying shit. That's when the New York session kicks in, basically 9 to 5 EST. But there's a little hack. When the New York session and the London session have a rollover, when both of these sessions coincide and they go one on top of another. This is where you have the most volume, when it's London session and New York session at the same time. If you notice, that is where it is the most darkest green in this whole entire screen. When it's the beginning of London session, it's starting to get a little bit darker than when it's Tokyo or Sydney session. And then as it starts approaching New York, it starts getting darker and darker and darker and darker. And then when it's both of them, that there's the overlap of these sessions, that's where shit just hits the fan and you have the most type of volume that you can possibly ever have. And this is where you want to not only enter a trade, but you want to hold the trade. You want to be active in front of the markets if your trade is at where you're interested in taking. Not that you have to be in front of the markets at this time. And I'm going to explain why later in the bootcamp. And it's going to make so much sense and it's going to make trading so much easier for you. But the trading opportunities 99% of the time, and I want to say 100, but there's always that one case event. 99% of the time, they tend to be inside of here. I do not take trades outside of this session. Now I'm getting kind of into the how, but this is basically, yeah, let me not get fucking sidetracked. This is what a high volume session is. A high volume session is when there is a lot of movement in the market, and this is when there's a lot of movement in the market. London session and New York session and the overlap. This other shit, we don't fucking trade. The simplest analogy that I can put for this is a fisherman. Fisherman at nighttime. Let me put fishing boat. Shit. Fishing boat at night. Well, big. I put big. If you guys notice these big fishing crew boats that they go out there and they get these 100,000 fish or whatever. Look at my boy right here. It's actually my boy from high school. I'm totally kidding. I have no idea who this guy is. The point of, oh yeah, this guy, right? So the point is that there is going to be a time where you can go out there and catch really big fish, but it tends to start very, very, very early in the morning for me, because that is when there's nobody out there in the ocean driving boats, when there's no noise, when there's no sun. That's when the fish get hungry, which tends to be at 3 in the morning, right? Then it comes early morning, which early bird gets the worm. That's when the fish start getting hungry and shit starts fucking picking up. And then you have 9 in the morning. That's when, you know, the family wakes up. That's when everybody's going to work, when all these fishes are commuting from one location to another, whatever's going on. And that's where you go in, like my boy Bill right here, and you go and you get them for real. That's where you're going to have a shit ton of fish, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities, and you're going to have a big smile on your face like my guy right here, right? See, that's 9 in the morning. The sun is up. Everybody, all the fish are fucking fishing, going around, and you go out there with you and your boys and your crew, and that's when you want to be fishing. That's when you're going to be out there getting fucking seasick, smelling like fish to catch the food for your family. But when it's done, when it's already out of the session, the fish saw all their boys get smoked. This fish has a friend, and he's like, fuck, they took Bill today, or they took Jeff. Fuck that. I'm not going out tonight. I'm gonna go to sleep or whatever. Like, I'm not going out anymore today. They took my boy. So the fish are hibernating during this time. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to be a savage and you want to go out there and still, be the only guy out there, yeah, you might catch a fish, but it's gonna be the bottom of the barrel. And you're gonna be waiting a long time because everybody else is just sitting around waiting for the morning to come because they were tired of all day fishing around or whatever the fuck fish do. So you only want to go out there and fish when the fish are fishing, when they're moving around, not when they're sleeping. If all this makes sense on what is a high session and what is not, type 1, if not, type 2. Jesus. I love how you get into the role of the analogies. Dude, yeah, I'll go super deep. Can you repeat what you said on London session in New York or high volume? I'm driving and I got a call. Adrian, that's a question that I think it makes sense, but brother, I'll repeat it for you, dude. If you're driving and you're out here being part of this boot camp, I appreciate you, man. Your analogies are actually really good. Yeah, so I'll explain one more time for our boy. London session and New York session are when the banks open. There's a lot of money being moved. There's an overlap of both of them, and that is exactly what. Actually, if you're driving, motherfucker, how did you type that shit? Huh? Oh, you think I'm falling for your shit? Oh, you got me. Now, now you gotta watch the recording. That's it. You got me. Tier 1 troll. Voice text. Okay, okay, okay. So again, you can trade this session if you want, man. Dude, be that guy, man. Fuck yeah, bro. Be that guy. But the fish that you're gonna catch there, this is the best analogy. If you trade inside of this session, this is the type of fish you're gonna catch. You go home with that, your wife is literally gonna dump you. She's gonna get rid of you, dude. You're gonna go out there thinking you're the shit. You're gonna come back with this 2-incher. Well, I mean, some 2-inch get the job done, but not for food. All right. Food, this does not get the job done. What you want to do, guy catches big fish, is go home with one of these motherfuckers. And you only catch these when it comes to these high volume session. Here, small trades, here, big trades. If that makes sense, type 1. If not, type 2. I guess we get the fuck. Yeah, everybody gets it. Yeah. Gotta get deep with these analogies, man. Shit. All right, sick. Perfect. Next, if you guys want, take a screenshot of this. It's everywhere all around Google. This is my favorite one, honestly, because you can literally see the thickness. You can clearly see no fish here. There's literally no fish. You can see the bottom of the ocean. There's no fish. Here, you cannot see the bottom of the ocean. There's a shit ton of fish. So this is where you want to be fishing. Take a screenshot, watch this recording, and set and forget. Sick. Now we understand what is a high volume session. Now we have one of the ones that I hate doing, which is what is market correlation. And I'm only going to explain it because I have to, but I really don't want to explain this because it is completely irrelevant to what fuck, it doesn't let me make it red. Doesn't matter. This one right here, I don't like explaining it because it can be a little confusing for beginners, and that's the last thing that I want to do right now. But I kind of already explained a little bit of it on day 1. And again, it's me getting ahead of myself when I get very passionate about this. But market correlation is not needed. It is not. I'm just going to explain to you what it is so you know, right? So this is not needed. So I'm going to explain to you just so you have an idea and you know exactly what you're getting yourself into and you can know exactly what's going to go on. But I truthfully do not use this. I have never used it. And the times that I do use it, it actually does me more wrong in my trading than it does good. Okay. So I want you guys to go into this on how I just explained it. There is not going to be a how this is used because I don't use it. I don't use it at all, and I will not use it, and I don't plan to use it. This is something that I'm just going to educate you on it. The simplest example that I can put for this is if you're going to go out there and be a fisherman and you have your fishing rod, you really don't give a flying fuck how they made that line. You just want to make sure that shit does not snap when you pull up your big ass fish. You don't give a shit. You know, like it does, like it really does not matter how that line is made. If it was made from left to right or right to left, makes no difference to you. You just care that it is braided or that it's a wire or whatever, but you just want to know what it is. You want to know that it's a wire. You want to know that it's a braided. You want to know that it's plastic, whatever. But you don't really care how it was made. Okay. If that makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2 before I go into this. Sick. Watch, it's gonna make sense right now. It's gonna make sense right now. Don't worry about it. Okay, so what is market correlation? So market correlation is going to be when you correlate one market to another. Market correlation is when the markets correlate one with another. What the hell does that mean? Very simple. That is when you have something, for example, like GBP, NZD, and then you have GBP slash JPY. Or you have GBP slash USD. If you notice, what do you have similar in all of these pairs? The GBP, the GBP, and the GBP. So there is some type of correlation in between these markets. This market has the same as this one. It has the GBP. This one is the same as this one, has a GBP, and this one is the same as it. They all have the GBP. That is their correlation. And you're supposed to have a pattern. So if, for example, you go on the GBP NZD chart and you have this type of movement, you expect for the GBP JPY market to have the same exact movement because they're obviously supposed to be directly correlated because of the GBP. And the short-term answer is yes, but no. This is something that could confuse a lot of experienced traders, including myself, because it does have some type of correlation, but to a certain extent. This has a completely different currency pair on the other side of it that will also influence how this market looks. Now, even though they have the Great British Pound and it tends to be stronger than the quote, the pair that is associated with, there still is a lot of movement that comes from the other currency pair that it's fighting. You got to remember, currency pairs are like fighting one another. This one is fighting this one. This one is fighting this one. Just because you have Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, Mike Tyson versus Floyd Mayweather, and Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali does not mean that they're going to always be the same stats. Does it mean that Mike Tyson is going to come out and always punch with the left and always knock them down with the right? Now, even though that's Mike's strategy and that's what he's trained to do, that does not mean that that's going to always happen because Jake Paul is taller than Floyd Mayweather and Muhammad Ali is faster than Jake Paul, for example. So, yes, even though Mike is going to approach the same every single time because he's built like a machine, you also have to factor that the machine going against him is going to modify the way that Mike Tyson goes about that strategy. And what I mean about the strategy is the trail that the market is going to leave. So yes, even though these are supposed to technically be identical, they're not going to be. This might be a little bit higher, and then this might be a little bit lower. This might be lower, and then this might be here, and then this might be here. So in retrospect, if you do look at it, it does kind of look similar. Just some points are off from the other, and it doesn't look exactly the same, but it looks very similar. And what you would do with market correlation, fuck, I'm already getting into the how, but whatever, just get this out like once and for all. Like what you do with market correlation is like, well, if this market is up and this one's up and I want to take a trade here and I'm not sure about it, I do a market correlation that has the same currency pair in it. And I'm like, okay, this one's going up as well. And it has GBP, so this one has to go up because they're both going up. And the answer is no. That's not how it works. You cannot use one market to influence another. They're two completely different markets. They're two completely different fighters. I mean, they're two completely different opponents, and there's going to be two completely different results. Even though, yes, he is the fan favorite, and yes, he is very probably to win every single time, you cannot base the same exact stats from one to the other. So that's what market correlation is. When you compare one currency pair to another simply because they have the same base or the same quote. For example, this can also happen on Euro USD, Euro USD, GBP USD, or USD JPY. If you notice, they all have something very similar, and it is the USD. You cannot let the USD influence this one, or this one. Not at all. They are all completely different. So that is what market correlation is. And at no given point are we ever going to use it. It's just more so you guys are informed, because you guys will see a pattern in GBP NZD and in GBP JPY. They will look similar. They will have somewhat of the same structure. And you cannot think you just crack something like, oh shit, I think I'm onto something that Alex doesn't know or the industry doesn't know. I think I figured something out. No, you haven't. This just does not work. It's completely irrelevant. So if that makes sense, type one on what market correlation is, type one. If not, type two. So come into the market and not look at the name, but look at the market structure and your confluence. Yeah, just look at each currency pair individually for what it is. Do not compare one to the other. Don't correlate one to the other. Don't tie one to the other. It's confusing. Okay, talk to me, Mateo. Why is it confusing? Exactly. It's just like the JPY pairs, but we'll get there in just a second. Perfectly explained. Sick. Each pair has its own battle. Correct. Why do I do it sometimes? Angelo, I literally just fucking said I never do it. I never do this. What are you actually correlate? You don't correlate anything. I thought I was smart 2 days ago and you just reality checked me. Mhm. What if it's a euro? It's the same shit, dude. If it's GBP, if it's the USD, if it's the dollar, if it's the JPY, it's all the same thing. So this is not needed. Yep. If you read this right here as a one thing, what is market correlation? This is not needed. Yep, that's exactly what I said. Yep. Why do some pairs pop off stronger at the beginning of the day and to because they just that's just the way it works. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why some pairs blow up faster than others and some market opens. Maybe because of I don't know, just the structure, the trend. I don't know. I just I don't fucking know. If I were to know, I would just always make money if I were to know. This is something that you are showing us now, so we don't find out later. Yep, it's what I just said as well. Do you ever trade against the currency you bet on, for example? Great question, dude. You know what? This is a question that I want to see right here. Let me copy this. So, okay, doesn't let me copy, man. Let me try and copy it like this. All right, so this is a question. I'm just going to turn off the chat just for a second so I can answer this question. All right, so this is a question that I got from Rodolfo. So Rodolfo asked this one right here. Do you ever trade against a currency you bet on? For example, like taking a long on USD JPY and a buy on Euro USD. So when you are taking for example, right? So let's say, let's use this example. When you're taking a buy on Euro USD, and then you're taking a sell on USD JPY, Here, you are betting that the euro is going, and technically, by the way, what you said is trading with. So this right here, I am betting that the euro is going to get stronger and that the dollar is going to get weak, because if this chart goes up, that means that the euro is stronger than the dollar. And if I sell USD JPY, I am basically betting that the dollar is going to get weaker than the JPY, or the JPY is going to get stronger than the dollar. So the question that I get asked is, do I ever do this? Because it's technically doing the same shit. You're technically betting on both, that the other currency pair is going to be stronger than the dollar, or that the dollar is just going to get weaker, which is the same thing at the end of the day. So the answer to this is, do I ever trade against them or trade with them? And the answer is no. I pick one. Which one looks cleaner? This one or this one? If I take this one, it's the only one that I take. Because if you take both, you're overexposing yourself. Now, sometimes I'll take the wrong one and I'll lose. And it is what it is. It's part of the process. And I never trade against each other, which, let's say that we buy both. So here we are betting that the dollar is going to get weak. And then here we're betting that the dollar is going to get strong. And I won't do, well, I'll just pick one. Which one do I think is going to happen? This one or this one? And that's it. I don't ever take both, because it literally makes no sense. I'm basically evening out my position technically. It's like you going to, 2 days ago, betting that Trump is going to win and betting that Kamala is going to win. One of them is going to definitely win. Whichever one wins pays out the other one and doesn't do anything. You just fucking, you're going to lose money on the spread. Like, it's pointless. So it's the same thing here. No, I will not do this. This makes no sense. I will only pick one of the two and simply take it. If that makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. Sick. Okay. Any questions regarding this? What should I write down for notes for correlation? This is not needed. So that's your notes. But if the market is not correlated, then what is the harm in taking both buys? Because you just don't want to do that. Again, they are correlated. Markets are definitely correlated, but we don't use that as a strategy, or we don't use that for our trading. But they are correlated. It's not that they're not correlated. They clearly have the same fucking currency pair, but you just don't use that as an edge to enter or not enter a trade. So the markets are definitely correlated. That's what it is, but this is not needed to execute the strategy. So it's kind of like I'm teaching you to learn something to then unlearn it. When is pre-London session? David, go to Google, my brother, and go find that picture and you do the math. You finally read my message, because the question made no sense. No, I'm kidding. If we trade GBP, do you correlate? I don't correlate anything, so I just can't even continue to read that question. All right, sick. Basically, I think it is very well understood. Why teach us if there's no purpose of this? Jeremy Martins. It's like what I said already. I don't want you to figure this out a week from now, and then you think you kind of crack something, and then you want to go and think you're onto something and start correlating markets when it's not needed. So I'm saving you the time and the headache of when you think you figured something out, you really didn't. And it does nothing for your when you go use the strategy. So I'm teaching you so you know what to expect and why you don't want to use it. So that's why I'm teaching you. Not going to teach you something. Nah, not even going to waste time. Okay. So if this makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. Sick. It's going to make a little bit more sense when we go into the how. Trust me, guys. All right, cool. You have no idea how much stress you saved me by showing that? Yeah. Do you always trade? Yeah, I only trade one pair at a time. Yes, I only trade one pair at a time. I learned the hard way by correlating. Exactly. Ryan Mastala. Sometimes. All right, sick. Next. What is market structure? Well, what is market structure? We fucking get comfortable for this one. That probably gave you guys like a because you guys probably heard it super loud on the mic. What is market structure? It's funny because I have like notes here and I just don't want to use them. I want to use new ones. I want to use new analogies. Should we go with the I don't want to use this one, but I'm gonna start using it. We go with the surfing analogy. Market structure is like waves, ladies and gentlemen. Waves. The waves of the ocean is what lets a surfer surf the fucking wave. That's me right there. That's me right there on my way to go lose a trade or get eaten by a shark. That's my way right there to go pick up a chick and put her on the surfboard and bust my ass. That's my way right there, taking the video for you guys, showing you guys what to do and what not to do. But for me to do that, there has to be not one wave, many waves. And off of these waves, I have to be patient and pick one of these waves to go out there and ride. And sometimes there's big waves, really fucking big waves. And sometimes there's small waves, really fucking small waves. And I have to decide which one I want to ride. The majority of the time, I'm that guy. I ride the biggest wave, but I'll bust my ass like this guy. Sometimes I ride the small ones, like this chick, and I'll still bust my ass. The point is that the ocean is made up of waves, and without the waves, it is impossible to surf. The market is made up of market structure, and is it possible to trade without market structure? Market structure is everything. Like market structure equals to the life of the market. The life of the market is everything in market structure. Like market structure is going to be used every single time we look at the market. When we go put our take profit, when we go put our stop loss, when we go identify the trade we want to trade, when we go put our entry signal, everything is going to be off of market structure. We are surfers, and everything we do is off of a fucking wave. The surfer has no purpose without a wave. You're a surfer. You're fucking. I thought the word wave was in that side the name surf. I don't know why. But you are a wake board surfer. You need the wake. You guys get it. Market structure is everything when it comes to the markets. It is what's going to let you know if the market is bullish or if the market is bearish. It's going to let you know if the market has a pattern or if it has a engulfing candlestick, an entry signal, a break and retest, a trend continuation, a double bottom, a double top. Market structure is everything. This one piece of market structure, I can literally just trade with just market structure and no indicators or nothing, just market structure. I can go out there and I can go surf with just a fucking board. I don't need a wake suit. I don't need the long curly hair. I don't need this guy's cap. I don't need any of that. I just need a wave and a board. I just need market structure and money. That is it. That's how I'll make money in trading. You need money to make money. You need a board to surf the fucking wave. Or if you're a savage, you could be like one of these guys. Surf. I don't know if you guys ever seen this, but there's people that surf the waves with their body. It's pretty sick. Look at this thing. That's pretty sick in my opinion. But They don't really go for that fucking long. It's just like a very short piece of distance. So you don't want to be that guy. You want to have a board. So market structure is going to be everything. Market structure identifies the higher highs and higher lows of the market. You guys got to be writing this down. It identifies the patterns in the market, identifies the shift of structure, identifies literally everything inside of the market. That is what market structure is. Now, how you identify the correct market structure and what is a valid piece of market structure and what is not, that is next week. Now, it's very important that you understand that because you might have questions on how to actually be able to identify it and how to be able to spot it. But again, that is something for next week. So if you understand what is a market structure, type 1, if not, type 2. Beautiful. Dude, this guy kills me with the analogies. How do you identify it? Motherfucker. Kalina, Kalani, dude, or woman. I don't know what that name means. Whatever it means. Dude, it identifies what? It identifies what the market is doing at like market structure identifies what the market is doing right now, dude. Do you consider one opposite candle structure? Oh, sounds like a Angelo. Your questions are great, Angelo, but they're advanced. So give me into next week, and I'm sure I will be answering every single one of your questions. Is market structure? Is market structure basically the pattern a candlestick ends up making on the chart? Yes. Kyle Downson. That is what market structure is. It's literally what, like, this is market structure. This is what it is. It's market structure is everything you see on the chart. It's all these candlesticks made up together that makes this up. That's what market structure is. That's literally it. Like everything you see right here is market structure. Is there another terminology for market structure? All right, here we go. Trying to find a different way on how the water gets into the coconut. Um, I don't know, dude. I don't know, bro. The chart is market structure. I don't know if there's another word, bro. Like water is water, H2O. It's the same shit. Fucking hydrates you. Jeremy Martins. Yes, I'm gonna explain to you what a market shift is, which it should be self-explanatory, Jeremy. It's when the market shifts, motherfucker. Jesus. Is that, bro? It's hard because I'm trying to not read these questions and I'm like, they're just spamming them. They're gonna, is the market structure better to see on the higher? See, look, this is the type of question that I want to see. Is the market structure better to see it on the higher time frame or the lower time frame? Great question, bro. This is the question that I want to see. The market structure is to be seen on all time frames, on higher time frames and on lower time frames. Each time frame has a different purpose. The higher time frame has a certain purpose, and the lower time frame has a certain purpose. One is not better than the other. One is not worse than the other. You will not take one because of the other. They're both individually sectioned off to be used uniquely for the purpose. But market structure on the higher time frame will be used, and market structure on the lower time frame will be used. What is higher time frame? What is lower time frame? The higher time frames are the higher time frames, like the monthly, the weekly, the daily, and the 4 hour. And the lower time frames are the 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, and the 15 minute. Now, if you don't have it set up like this, don't worry. That's what next week is about. Do you still use higher time frame? Oh, We're not talking about higher time frame. We're talking about market structure. Do you analyze the market from higher time frames to lower ones? That is what the next question is about. Is laying out patterns. Why is a market structure on lower time frame look very different? Why does a market structure on lower time frames look very different than from the higher? That's just the way it goes, brother. I don't have the history behind that, but the waves when they're closer to shore, they're smaller, and when they're out there, they're bigger. I don't make up the waves. Does market structure change during market hours? Yes. There's better market structure when there's a high volume session. There's less market structure when there is lower volume in the markets. Can market structure be considered a market trend? Market structure is what I said. It identifies if the market is bullish or if the market is bearish. It identifies if it's choppy. Market structure identifies everything. Is market structure different on all time frames? Yes, it's very different on every single time frame. Is the higher time frames? We're not in time frames right now. Would it look different? Okay, what? Does market structure change on off hours? Sure, whatever that means. How big does it need? Nope, we're not there. That's on the how. All right, cool. Did you guys understand type one? If not, type two. Everybody, I need everybody to vote. Okay, cool. Everybody understands what market structure is, which is literally everything that the market shows. Sick. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, if you guys don't fully understand, it's going to make a lot of sense on the how. Sick. Next question. What is top-down analysis? Let me think about this one. Top-down analysis. When something goes from the top down analysis, it's when you're analyzing something from top down. Okay. I got it. It's self-fucking explanatory. Top-down analysis. We do, you know what? Let me do a poll real quick. Let me do a poll. Where are the polls here? Let me do a poll real quick. You know what? We have to make this question, right? Is it what is it called? Okay, whatever, I'll do it like this. What are you? What are you? Are you a male, female, or you have no sex, or non-binary, or no whatever? You gotta always, be politically correct nowadays. I'm just curious, right? Okay, see, like I'm very glad that this is happening. Where is this going? This is gonna make a lot of sense, right? It's gonna make a lot of sense in just a second. Those aren't my pronouns. Okay. All right. So just this is gonna make sense. All right. So the polls are 86 male, 12% female. For the 12% of the female, I'm fucking rooting for you guys in here. Okay. I am rooting for every single one of you guys in here. Show the guys what you guys are capable of doing. All right, sick. So what is a top-down analysis? Well, it's very self-explanatory. We do a top-down analysis every single day. When you see somebody at the gym, if you're a male and you see a female, you do a top-down analysis. You start from the top and you make your way down. And by the time you're at the bottom of the analysis, you're going to determine, you know what? That's a good trade. And you know what? That's not a good trade. People at the gym. If you're a female, you're going to do a top down analysis like, damn, whatever, little hair, skinny arms, but he's got nice legs. You just did your top down analysis. You don't execute the trade until you don't do the full analysis. This guy can be swole as shit, but as you continue the top analysis from here down, shit just might get chicken legs. Shit just might not be looking good. And that's where the trade is no good for you. You can't determine the trade just off of the top. And ladies, I know you've done it. I know you've taken a trade just off of the top, and it did not end well because it was not a full top down analysis. And men, I know we've all taken a trade off of half analysis. I need a better picture. It's funny because you guys will never forget. Um, I know we've made an analysis just from the half down, and we did not take into account the other half, and it wasn't a good trade, but you still took the trade because of the bottom half of the analysis. Sometimes you say, you know what? Half down is good, half up is not, but fuck it, I'll still take the trade. That's not what you want to do in trading. In trading, you want a full top down analysis that is accurate and precise. All right. If that makes sense, type one. If it doesn't, type two. All right. Whoever types two, you got a problem. Okay. Because that makes total fucking sense. So it's the same thing with the markets. In the markets, you want to have a full top down analysis. We don't take trades just from halfway down. You don't do that here. You do the whole thing. You don't want to make the same mistake with your money. So you want to do the top down analysis starting off from the weekly down to the daily, down to the 4 hour. So if you guys have your trading view open right now, you can go ahead and just get advanced of yourself if you wish. And you can go here to this section, click on the time frames, and put a star on these time frames. This is where you're going to do the top down analysis from. You're going to start with the weekly, put a star on it, the daily, put a star, the 4 hour, put a star, the 2 hour, put a star, the 1 hour, put a star, 30-minute, put a star, and 15-minute, put a star. The weekly is like starting from the head. Then after you go to the daily, you kind of make it to the chest area. 4 hour is abdominal. 2 hour and 1 hour is below the waist up to the knees. She got long knees, he got long knees. Oh, can't go. And then the 30-minute and the 15-minute is from the knees to the feet. Oh man, I had a really funny one right now, but I can't do it. I did it the last boot camp and it was really funny, but I'm not gonna do it again. You need the full top-down analysis. These are the time frames where you're going to identify the top-down analysis in the markets. If that makes sense, type one. If it doesn't, type two. Sick. So that is what top-down analysis is. Now, this is a little bit advanced for next week, but I need you guys to remember it, right? Because when you do a top-down analysis at someone in the gym, for example, when you start breaking down the top-down analysis, right? Like my boy Jeff over here, you start saying this top from down is the same person. You don't change the person. You do the top down on the same person. You just start looking at the specifics of this person. You start by the weekly, then you go to the daily. Hold on, let me get a pen. You know what? I shouldn't even be doing this on that guy, right? This just makes it weird. Yeah, we can't be doing that. No. They can't catch me on this. Not like this. I'm not going out like this. No, this is too much. Gotta make it more professional. All right, Alex, you're cracking under pressure right now. Yeah. I'm cracking under pressure. All right, perfect. This is perfect. She looks like a Karen. So this is where we're gonna come out here and we're gonna start off. No, but then it's inappropriate. It's got to be on a fuck it, dude. Whatever. Weekly, daily, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, 30 minutes. This is where you are going to start from the top down. You are looking at the same person and just looking at the specifics inside of this person. It is the exact same thing on the weekly. When you look at, I mean, it's the exact same thing when you come to the markets. When you look at the markets on the weekly, damn, bro, I'm fucking getting into the how, bro. I hate when I do this, but whatever. When you look at this candlestick, that is the one candlestick. When you go to the daily, that is that same candlestick, just a little bit more zoomed in into now the daily. And then this candlestick, when you zoom into the 4 hour, then it's the same candlestick. It's the same Karen. You're just looking at more specifics into her. You're looking at more specifics into the market. And then this, you go down to the 2 hour and the 1 hour, it's just more specifics, blah, 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 blah. If that makes sense, type 1. If it doesn't, type 2. Sick. Perfect. All right, yeah, I got a little bit into the how. I hate when I do that, bro, but whatever. Do you have a definition of top analysis? Eddie? Eddie, you motherfucker. Eddie. Eddie. This bro, AJ, I'm not gonna do a top-down analysis on Diddy, bro. Stop spamming that, man. What the hell's wrong with you, bro? The fuck? I had to say it, dude. That's all I see in the chat. That's literally all I see. AJ's a little sus. Jesus. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much it for today. Today, we have broken down what an indicator is, what is a trending market, what is a choppy sideways market, what is a high volume session, what is a market correlation, what is market structure, and what is top-down analysis. Now, just to bring some clarity to this, an EMA, an indicator, is a fucking indicator. Trending and choppy market is like clothing branding. When something is very trending in the fashion market, you see it very often. When something is not, you don't really see it often. High volume session is like trading in, it's like fishing in a market full of fish. That is what a high volume session is. Market correlation is not needed. Now you know what it is, so don't focus on it. And market structure is like the waves of the ocean. The ocean is nothing without waves. The market is nothing without market structure. And top-down analysis, I know you guys know exactly what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, that is day number 4. Put a W in the chat if you had value and learned. If not, put an L in the chat. Yeah, bro. I make these shits funny somehow. I don't know how I end up doing it, but I feel like I can literally be a stand-up comedian if I really wanted to. I feel like you give me a fucking microphone and I'll stand in front of that crowd and I'll make you shit your pants. You know? All right, sick. Today's quote, brother, I just lost you. But today's quote is, I gotta stand up for this. You know what? I'm so tall that I have this. Shit. Oh, shit. Today's quote is, today's quote is, today's quote is top-down analysis. Do your top-down analysis before you execute on anything, whether it's an investment, whether it's a trade, or a type of trade. You know what I'm talking about. Do your top-down analysis no matter fucking what. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys found day 4 extremely valuable. I will see you tomorrow at 7 in the morning for day number 5. Watch these recordings. Not only will you have a great fucking time, you're going to learn exactly what today's topics were, and you're going to never forget these analogies. Write down your notes. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys tomorrow. Set and forget, and do your top-down analysis.